Well, to be honest, coaching was never what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a physical therapist.
Lanett is a small school.
Right.
With big champions in it, though.
Right. Oh yeah, that's no doubt. Told him, I said, I just got a passion for this game. Sometimes people coach just to say they're coaching, but they don't love the kids and they don't have passion for the kids. I wanted the kids to understand what it takes to be successful first.
Hello everyone, I'm April Ross, and here with me today is coach of Lanett High School, the head football coach of Lanett High School, Clifford Story. Hello there.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. And the reason why we are here today is because on last week, on a Saturday night, you broke a huge record, a huge milestone in your career, and that is completing 110 games, winning for Lanett. Is that right?
Yes, you're correct. On last Saturday against Notasulga, Coach Washburn and I was tied with 109 victories. And so on Saturday, after we beat Notasulga 27-0, they gave me 110.
So when you were going into that game, let's just go there first. When you were going into that game, was the record on your mind?
Well, of course I thought about it because people kept texting me, and then Trey Norris, who's one of our former resource officer, he had sent me a text earlier today and was like, do you understand what you're about to do? You know, and I was like, nah, not really. And then so he went on Facebook and posted something and tagged me and told me to look at it. And then I went and looked at it, and he had a picture of Coach Washburn and I. He was giving me the state championship trophy in 2017. And so he wrote up a little post about both of us, and so it came surreal then.
It came surreal then. Let's talk about where the story began. Let's talk about your journey on your path. We were kind of going over how you got started in your football career. Tell us what made you get into it.
Well, to be honest, coaching was never what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a physical therapist. I got my undergraduate degree in physical therapy, and so I started doing my internship. And as I was doing my internship, I just started noticing that in order for me to be a successful physical therapist, I had to put people through pain. And so when I was putting them through pain, it just didn't sit well in my spirit. And so I'm saying to myself, I done went to school to do this. Now all of a sudden, to see tears roll down people's eyes and make them have to take their body somewhere that they don't want to take it. And so Coach Roland Houston, who was my former defensive coordinator from Jacksonville State, he had got a head job at Beehive High School, and he told me to come and help him. So I went and helped him, and then when I helped him, I would start to feel like this is what I like to do. And so it was so fun. I called my dad and I was telling him about it, and he was like, well, I thought you were going to go to Birmingham and get your master and become a physical therapist and get all the certifications. I was like, well, I was. I said, but that was my plan. And so, I told him, I said, I just got a passion for this game. So I helped Coach Houston that year, and then he was trying to get me something in the school, but at that time I wasn't certified in education. So it was a lot more difficult back then than it is now to become certified. And so I finished out with him, and was a lot of job fairs posted and things like that. And so I was like, I'm gonna go to Atlanta. I'm gonna go up to Georgia. And so I went up to Georgia at a job fair, and I interviewed with a lady by Dr. Margie Smith. And when I got through interviewing her, she said, don't you move, don't you go anywhere. She said, I'm about to call my head football coach.
She said, don't you move.
She said, don't you move.
Right there.
Right there. And she said, I'm hiring you today. And I mean, it was a tables lined all the way up the wall of people. But she said, don't you move. And so I didn't move, and she came back and she started filling out paperwork, and she called the head football coach, Rodney Hackney, who's back at Riverdale High School. And so I went over and interviewed with him, and I stayed at Riverdale for 3 years. Great man, great community, great school, great principal. And so unfortunately, things started to transition with him. He started, wanted to do something else, go to another school. And then so my mind started turning, and I met a guy by the name of Chuck Furlow at the Indianapolis Colts game. We went up there to see Marcus play, and he and I were just talking. And he gave me his card, but I did not think I would have to use it. And so a few years later, I found his card and I called him. I said, hey, I'm getting ready to transition back toward Alabama. And Miss Hurd was selling her daycare. And Chris was like, I really want to purchase this daycare. And so it just seemed like everything just started to come together.
Coming back towards this way.
Right, exactly. And so Chris ended up purchasing the daycare, and I went and interviewed on a Tuesday at Auburn High School with Coach Furlow and Robert Maddox, who's a former coach at Valley High School, and Dr. Jenkins, who was over at West Point. And so anyway, I interviewed with them, and they liked me a lot, and they told me that I got to go through Dr. Long, who was the principal, and I did that part, and they offered me the job, and I stayed at Auburn High for 6 years. And so I worked with Coach Maddox and Tim Carter, two awesome coaches that I learned so much football about, along with Coach Hackney. And so the rest was history. And with Lanett, it just was so ironic how this job happened. So Coach Sykes was getting ready to leave, and a lot of people in the community was calling me, was saying, man, you ought to apply. But me, I'm saying, nah. I said, I'll go and interview out of formalities just to see the process, the step, the questions, and things that way. So once I feel like I'm ready, then I'll be ready. And so I came and interviewed with Coach Sykes,
and that was in?
That was in 2009.
Okay.
It was in 2009. And so I interviewed right here in this room with Mr. Johns, who was superintendent, had just became the new superintendent. Him and Coach Sykes and who's the principal there? They was right here in West Point. I don't forget what his name is now. But anyway, he was the principal. It'll come to me in just a second. But anyway, I interviewed with them, and they told me that they had several other people that they need to interview. And so, I'm like, okay, good. But I said, I know they got several other people. I won't be chosen anyway. So. But I came prepared now for the job.
You came prepared.
And so I left and went on to work, and a couple of weeks go by, and I'm leaving home, headed to work. I get on 85, and Mr. Isom, that's who it was.
Okay.
I got to give him recognition, Mr. Isom. And so I get on 85, headed to work, and Mr. Johnson calls me. He said, hey, can you come by here? So I said, yeah. And so I called my principal. I said, hey, I'm gonna be a few minutes late. I said, Lanett want me to come by and talk to me. And so I went in his office, and he had a contract on the table, and he slid it to me. And I was like, whoa. I said, wait a minute. I said, now, I just interviewed out of formality. I said, I wasn't expecting the job.
Wasn't expecting it.
No, wasn't expecting
formality.
Yes.
Because I know y'all got somebody else.
Right, exactly. And he was like, no, he said that you qualified for this job. And he was like, you was overly prepared, and things like that. And he was like, you came in with your portfolio, and you gave us pamphlets and handouts and talked to us on how to build a program. And I was like, yeah. I said, I just took some tad bit from different people that I worked for, things I like and things that I didn't like, and and made it work. And he offered me the contract, and then he said, would you be interested in the job? I said, wait a minute. I said, I got to pray about it. Okay. I said, I didn't pray about getting the job. I just prayed for an interview for the job.
That was important to you?
Right.
To pray about it.
No doubt, no doubt, because one thing that I do know that if you pray about it, whether you feel like it's the right decision or the wrong decision, but prayer gonna lead you where you need to be. And so I just knew, when I left out of the office, I got in my truck, and tears started running down my eyes, and I was like, this is real. I'm about to have an opportunity to be the head coach of a high school. And so I went on to work. And I started talking to a few of the coaches. I was like, man, they offered me the job. And they were congratulating me. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't accept the job. I took the job. So Mr. Jones said, I'm going to give you a week or so to think about it. So that Sunday I went to church, and I could not stop crying. I was like,
really?
Yeah, and I'm one of those, I'm not a real emotional guy. And like my kids can tell you, they probably seen me shed tears a few times. And so I just could not get right. So I went up and laid on the altar, and I just started praying. I said, God, if this is what you want me to do, I said, give me signs. I said, show me. And so my Sunday meeting when I went to Auburn, and Coach Carter, who's now the head coach at at Fairhope, he said, Coach, you really need to take that job. And I said, why do you think that? He said, you're ready, Coach. He said,
really?
You are ready. And I was like, I don't know, Coach, it's a lot of responsibility. I watched the things that y'all do. He said, Coach, you ready for that job? And so I called Chrissy. I said, I'm gonna take this job. And then she said, I knew it.
She did.
Yeah. And so I called Mr. Johnson. I said, I'm gonna accept the job. And I came over and did the paperwork. And he had a call board meeting that Monday. And I called my parents, and they met me here that afternoon at 6 o'clock. But what's so ironic about that, the first job I ever had, Miss Gwen Harris gave it to me. And so my first head coaching job, she was on the board to help approve me to get it.
Wow.
And so I brought it up to her, and she remembered that.
Really?
Yeah, and so, once I got the job, and now my mind was going on getting the staff together and all of that stuff. But that's just the gist of it and how it all happened.
So coming in at 2009, everybody has in life, I'm sure you do, your goals that you set once you got in that space of being the head football coach. But did it ever have in your mind that I'm going to break Dan Washburn's record?
No, I didn't at all. I had a plan, of course, and I had a vision, and I knew how I wanted things, because I'm a little OCD when it comes to organization. And so when I first got the job, I had to do a lot of housekeeping things in order for me to be able to feel comfortable in that position. And so, once I got myself together with the help of Mr. Ed and Coach Price helping me organize some things and getting things together, I started just, putting things in place and start hiring good people. And, I wanted coaches that treat my kids like uncles and dads versus just a coach, because sometimes people coach just to say they're coaching, but they don't love the kids and they don't have passion for the kids. And I knew when I interviewed Coach Siegel, and Marcus had just retired from the NFL, and I brought him on board, and then Coach Charlie, who's Lanett graduate, long time through and through, and I had those guys in the mix. I knew that I had 3 good guys to start with. And so, we started building from there, but the record was never on my mind. I just wanted to be able to coach kids, love kids, help kids get exposed, to the next level, and just introduce them to just another way of life. Because there's no game out here like football that the things you're gonna face playing the game. And so that's all I wanted to do.
So you started to get on a path, though, of championships, because you're not only the head coach, you are the athletic director.
Correct.
And you stand with 7 championships under your belt. Is that right?
Correct.
I mean, and we talk about Nick Saban, but my goodness, I mean, seriously, after I was reading your portfolio, and I'm like, do we realize you have 7 rings under your belt?
Yeah.
What is that like to you? I even saw a post where you put the rings and you had 1 slot
Yeah.
left.
And I feel that with the Coach of the Year. That slot. I got another case that I was gonna show that I won Coach of the Year, and that was that filling that spot that I had open. But I mean,
That's an impeccable record, though. You
Yeah,
gotta admit, though.
it
I mean,
is.
seriously, when I saw the 2017, 2017, 2019, but then to go, you're the athletic director. You got 7 championships. Lanett is a small school.
Right.
With big champions in it, though.
Right. Oh yeah, that's no doubt. But we built different.
Right.
I've had people that have came to our school and they'll go through our workouts and they'll go through our summer program, and the first thing they said, we didn't work this hard at our school. But we grind, we work hard. And because I just know, when you face adversity in life, and I want to teach kids not to quit. And I tell them, I said, quitting is easy. I said, but fighting through the storm is the hardest part. And so they understand the culture we've built here. They understand, what it takes to be a Lanett Panther. And so our motto this year is we're not going backwards, because, we lost a lot of kids off our last year team. And, the first thing people are like, what you going to do? I said, we're going to be Lanett, because they understand what it takes. But with those championships, Coach Price got the first ones with track, and then Coach Carter, and I, got them in there together. And I told Coach Carter that, I said, once we get that first one, the wall's gonna come down. It was like Jericho. So,
yes,
yeah.
And let's talk about Coach Carter, because I can remember that when he was getting off the bus with the first championship that he won under your leadership, and he said you gave him a chance. What did you see in him to make you give him that
growing
chance?
up, I knew the kind of coach Coach Carter was. And so I wanted somebody to come in here that was spiritual, that was gonna be disciplined, and gonna help push these kids to be the best that they can be. We probably could have got anybody to coach them, but they did not fit the bill. And that's why I know God does things so strategically, because Coach Carter was retiring. He was leaving Greenville, coming down 85. His wife was sick, and he was coming home to take care of his wife. And I called him. I was eating Mexican right here at El Rio. And I said, man, what you doing? He was like, oh, Nan, headed home. I said, head home, do what? He said, retire. I said, what if an opportunity present itself at Lanett? And then he said, I'll think about it. And then I said, well, what if I give you a job? I tell you right now, I help you get the job. He said, well, I'll be over there. And so I just told him, you know, what I wanted, expectation for what I wanted for the program. He and I started Character Ed together, and it just started building from there.
When you say Character Ed, what is that?
What we would do is we would take a word per week. For example, we would talk about pride because it was certain things in the program that I did not like.
Okay.
So I wanted the kids to understand what it takes to be successful first. See, most people overlook the small steps, and I always think about an ant bed. An ant bed start with 1 grain, but if you don't knock that grain down, it's going to be a pile. So I took that and started teaching the kids what pride mean, what character mean, what integrity mean. And so we would take that word, we would put a scripture with it, and then we would talk to them about what pride means. And I was like, just for example, I said, if y'all walk in the hall and you see a piece of paper, you don't supposed to step over it. You're supposed to pick it up. I said, that's what started to build pride. I said, the interest that y'all put in it, and I said, y'all are the football program. They gonna follow y'all.
So with the young men that you've been able to coach over the years, what has been your core foundation for them?
Well, the main thing was, and I tell them all the time, I said, pray. I said, you gotta always pray. I said, it get cliche. Most people think it is, but at the end of the day, and I had one of my players tell me, he said, Coach, I don't know how to pray. I said, you know how to pray. I said, just like you talk to me, I said, talk to him. I said, it's no certain way you're supposed to pray. I said, as long as you can connect and talk to God and get in your sacred place and quiet place, I said, he'll hear you. And so my main thing is to pray, and I said, to treat people right. And I said, and surround yourself with good people, because one thing that I do know, if you're around good people, good things gonna happen. And so, you know, and those just some of the basics, you know, that I tell them. I said, you know, and it's simple, and I don't have a whole lot of rules. I don't have a whole lot of different things. And my rule is, don't do nothing to jeopardize this team, family, and community. That take care of everything.
Wow, that's important. When we were looking over your record, and not just the championships though, but you have a 71% winning. As we broke it, I didn't break it down, somebody else did behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But 71% winning streak. I mean, most people just try to maintain at 50.
Right.
What goes into that to be able to build a champion program?
Well, first of all, it's going to start with your administration, your board, and the people that can help you make decisions. If you get that support from them and they're willing to sit down with you and help put things in place that you'll need to be successful, it really helps you for assembling a good staff, because you know you're going to have some good athletes. I said, but you still got to be able to coach them and to put them in the best position possible to be successful. They have been big for us here at Lanett. I've been blessed, you know, with my superintendent, the prior superintendent, and the current. I mean, they have been over backwards, our board, to make sure that Lanett gets the things that they need.
Now, we talked about the championship. We talked about the records, because you've been successful with your track team, with the basketball, with football. But let me just read off some of the things. Your football resume. The state championship of 2017, 2019, region champions in 2013, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 2021. Valley Time Coach of the Year for 2013, 2017, 2019. Opelika News Coach of the Year 2017, 2019. The Aflac State 2A Coach of the Year in 2012. Coach in North-South State 2013. Coached in Alabama-Mississippi game 2018. Did I miss something? Besides breaking the record, I mean, did I miss anything?
I think you got it.
You think I got it? I mean, out of all of those, what are you most proud of, though?
I'm most proud of the scholarships that we've been able to help kids. My big thing was exposure, and so I always wanted kids to have a chance, because when I was coming out, it was hard to go to school, and so once everything changed, and I just wanted to be a relationship outside of Lanett with people that could help them get to where they need to be. So, you know, over these 14 years, this started my 14th year here, that we've signed 83 kids total, including our entire program. And you know, you got a kid that ranked a school that ranks anywhere between 155 kids to 200 kids or more. But to have kids sign each year to go and play at the next level, that's all I want for them, to have an opportunity, and they can't never say they didn't get one here.
Right, and I'm at many of those signings, and still following this young man who went to the Oregon Ducks.
Yes.
Every time I see that, I see him out there, I'm just like, he's on the Lanett program.
Yep.
A school that has under 250 students
Yep.
in it, but he's out there making it happen. What goes into the process when you speak to these young men about making the next transition in life?
The first thing I tell them is, I said, to give yourself a chance, I said, you got to have really good grades. I said, you got to have an ACT score. And I said, you got to treat the teachers in this building like there's your mom. I said, because it goes beyond the field. I said, when these recruiters come here, they're going to ask the teachers, what kind of student you are. I said, you don't never want them to say that you didn't do the things that you were supposed to do to position yourself to be successful. So, a lot goes into it, and then, just, the recruiting process, traveling, getting them there, with the help and support of their parents, and then making the decisions. That'd be the toughest part, because every kid feels like that if they don't go to a certain school, they let that coach down. So you got to convince them that it's all about, what you feel like is best for you. And I said, they're going to understand. It's their job, to recruit you hard. But I said, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you.
And you got to do that. Now that we are at 110, you are not only a coach, you're a husband and a father, but you coach all 3 sons. How was that process? Because now you got your baby boy in Clemson. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that.
It was trial and error. Coaching Trey, we headbutted a lot because he was the first one. I coached my nephew Mandel for a few years, so I had a chance to start scraping the surface. But when I got with Trey, he rode home with me in the car after the games. He came to practice with me in the morning, and so he would always be quiet with certain things because, I was hard on him. And I know I was, but I asked Trey this question. I said, do you want to be good? He said, yes, sir. I said, how good you want to be? He said, real good. I said, are you willing to take what I'm going to put you through to be good? And he was like, yes, sir. So I had to drill him because that what he said he wanted to do. So as a dad, we're going to do whatever we can to help our children. And so I pushed him to the max, and, it would be certain sideline situation that Chris would have to, intervene or step in and say, you just hard on him. So I had to say, look, you be quiet now. You over here,
mom.
right? You get a water. You let me handle this. And so she understood that, and then so Trey started understanding the older he got. And I always used to tell him, I said, when you have children, you'll understand. And so he understood, the older he got. And then, with Kristen, I couldn't coach him that way. Like I coached Trey, because I started learning some of the mistakes that I made coaching Trey. So I gave him a little bit more leeway to certain things because, I had learned I can't drill Trey every play. I can't ride him every play because he's going to be thinking about the stuff that I'm saying to him versus focusing on the team that we're playing. Mm-hmm. And so I got better with that. And then Caden, who wasn't a quarterback, which the other two were, his was a lot easier. He could get away with a lot more things because, he was in the trenches. Mm-hmm. He could hide certain things. But of course, I would find it when we watch film. But, they all said they wanted to be elite players, and we was blessed and fortunate to have all of them to go to school for free.
So as we are now, you broke the record. What is the next story? We know the story always continues. But what's next?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I still have so much love and passion for what I'm doing. I guess until Ms. Barton run me off, I'll continue to do it. I have a grandson now who's in the 8th grade, Jaden Drake. He's out here playing junior high for me now, and to see him learning drills and fundamentals and learning how to tackle and learn how to catch the ball, and he texts me or he'll FaceTime me and show me his muscles and things like that. They give me joy. Mm-hmm. And then when you surround with I got a great staff. I mean, they are great. They go above and beyond for these kids, and I wouldn't be where I am without the people that have worked for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach Story, it wouldn't be BTV if we wouldn't be elite too. So we had to get you a shirt.
All right.
And open it up so you can see it.
All right.
If you can get it open.
Yeah, y'all seal these things up. Okay, you got it from the top.
We had to get you something because I had to text your wife yesterday to get the
Oh,
size.
you knew the right size. Huh?
Oh yeah, You see, story
Okay.
110. You see it?
Okay. This is awesome. The winningest coach in Lanett High School history.
That's
This
right.
is nice.
We are super proud of you because, and I was more proud of you after I started to really, my producer Jakari started to give me all the history behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, we celebrate all these people that are on television, but my goodness, this man needs to be celebrated more.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've done something that I'm setting your sights, looking at from 2009 when you first started, 110 games was a long way.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes, a long way, and I never imagined getting to it because in 2010 we went 1-9. We went 1-9.
Really?
Yes, I started that spring out with about 50 football players, and as we got into the season, a lot of them transferred, a lot of them left, and a lot of them was ineligible, and we went to 19 kids, and so we didn't even really have enough to practice, and so I would get hatred emails, I would get bashed, I would get talked about. I need to go back to Auburn. It's not a 6A program. You can't treat it like one. And I said, why not? You know, I said, wherever you set your goals or your standard, that's what you're going to be. I said, so why not make it be a big-time program? And so they gave me the business. Every Friday, I would open up my email, and they would dog me out, talking about, you know, how sorry coach I am. You're going to be first coach to never win a game here and stuff like that. But now, you know, how you like me now?
Laughing all the way to 110.
All the way to 110.
and 111, we waiting on it, right?
That's right.
All right, well, Coach, thank you so much for being with us on today. Again, congratulations on your winning your 110 on last Saturday night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please continue to watch BTV.